Why Men Don't Go to Therapy by Jameson Cobbs, founder of Tough Love Counselling. There's a statistic that gets repeated endlessly in mental health. Men are less likely to seek therapy, more likely to die by suicide, and more likely to wait until things are already falling apart before asking for help. That part is true. What's less often examined is why men avoid therapy, not in slogans or blame, but in practical, lived reality. Because from where I sit, working with men directly, the issue isn't that men don't want help. It's that much of modern therapy is structured in a way that feels unintelligible, alienating, or even subtly hostile to how many men actually experience distress. And men notice that, even if they can't quite articulate it, therapy often asks men to do the one thing they were never taught. Most men grow up learning a specific emotional rule set. Be useful. Be competent. Solve the problem. Don't burden others unless it's serious. If you are struggling, handle it privately. Then therapy comes along and says, sit down. Talk about your feelings. Be vulnerable. Don't try to fix anything yet. From the outside, that can sound reasonable. From the inside, to a man who's been rewarded his entire life for doing, not processing, it can feel like being asked to abandon the very tools that kept him functioning. So many men don't reject therapy. They reject what they believe therapy will require them to become. Someone passive. Someone emotional without direction. Someone who talks, but doesn't move. Men aren't afraid of emotion. They're afraid of losing agency. One of the biggest misconceptions is that men are emotionally avoidant by nature. In reality, men feel just as deeply, but their emotions tend to organize around responsibility, failure, pressure, usefulness, and threat. What shuts men down isn't emotion itself, it's emotion without purpose. If therapy feels like endless exploration with no traction, validation without challenge, or talking around problems instead of through them, men disengage quickly. Not because they're incapable of insight, but because it feels inefficient, ungrounded, or even infantilizing. Men want to know, what does this mean? What do I do with it? How does this change my life outside this room? When those questions aren't answered, therapy feels like a poor return on investment. The cultural messaging around men and therapy doesn't help. There's also a broader cultural layer that often goes unspoken. Much of today's mental health messaging frames men as emotionally defective, socially dangerous, or in need of re-education. Even when well-intentioned, this framing lands badly. Men don't want to be told they are the problem, their instincts are wrong, or their discomfort is evidence of moral failure. So when therapy appears aligned with cultural narratives that pathologize masculinity itself, many men quietly opt out. Not out of denial, but out of self-respect. Therapy is often marketed to women, and men can tell. Walk through most therapy websites and directories and you'll see soft language, pastel aesthetics, emotion-forward branding, and an emphasis on holding space. Again, none of this is wrong, but it often signals, unintentionally, this wasn't designed with you in mind. Men are pragmatic. They read cues quickly. If the environment feels mismatched, they assume the process will be too. Men usually come to therapy for a reason, not a feeling. When men do finally reach out, it's rarely because they woke up wanting to explore their inner world. It's usually because their relationship is about to end. Their anxiety is impairing performance. Their anger is scaring them. Their sleep is gone. Or they're one bad day away from doing something irreversible. They come because something isn't working anymore. Effective therapy for men meets them there, at the point of friction, instead of insisting they start somewhere else. What actually works for men in therapy? From experience, men engage when therapy respects their intelligence, challenges their assumptions, names uncomfortable truths clearly, connects insight to action, and treats them as capable adults, not broken projects. Men respond to directness, structure, clarity, and honesty. They don't need to be handled. They need to be understood without being coddled or condemned. This isn't about fixing men, it's about meeting them honestly. The solution isn't convincing men they're wrong for avoiding therapy. It's asking a harder question. Is the model of therapy we're offering actually designed for the people we say we want to reach? When therapy adapts, without losing depth, men show up. They stay. They work. They change. Quietly. Seriously. Effectively. A different way forward. At Tough Love Counseling, my work with men is grounded in this reality. Not motivational slogans. Not moral lectures. Not endless venting without direction. But practical, psychologically grounded conversations that make sense, respect autonomy, and translate insight into real-world change. Because men don't need less depth. They need therapy that speaks their language. If this perspective resonates, I occasionally publish and record pieces like this. You're welcome to follow along or reach out if and when it feels relevant. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you in blog number 2.